Hello, everybody, and welcome to another day of Live at the Waterhole. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and I'll be the voice, not you'll be the voice. I'll be the voice as you'll be hearing for the next 2 hours. So, welcome to this live and interactive show. If this is your first time joining, that's great to have you on board. You can actually talk to me and ask me many questions as I narrate over the various live cameras across Africa. All you have to do is either hashtag WildEarth on X or Twitter. Otherwise, you can use the YouTube chat. But that's all I'm going to say about that, because it looks like we have a rather serious fight going on between two elephant bulls. I'm just waiting for my audio to come up. So right now I can't hear anything at all, and I think that the clashing of tusks is going to be something very important to listen to. We'll just take a moment just to suss out as well what's actually going on here. Because I saw them sort of jostling with one another, and it didn't seem too serious, but then one fell down on its knees, on its ankles. So let's just have a look here. There we go. Now I can hear that's tussling quite nicely. You can see the elephant on the left is not really giving the bull on the right-hand side a chance to sort of get to his feet. And their tusks have not untangled, not even once. Their heads are pushed down, and he's using his whole body weight now to drive that elephant backwards. They're not the biggest of the biggest bulls that I've seen. I mean, there's a good comparison with that individual right at the back. Much larger in size. But normally, we do see slightly younger bulls having a bit of a fight. It's more just kind of practicing, but I think this looks a little bit more than that. Wow, this is amazing. You can see the elephant on the right desperately trying to put his trunk in between. Getting whacked by those tusks is not pleasant. It definitely hurts. You can see the elephant now on the left, and his tail raised up. He's really unimpressed. They're both very angry at one another. We'll never know what it's really about, but at this age there's so many hormones coursing through their veins. But every now and then we get a more serious disagreement between the two elephant bulls. I don't think it's going to be over just yet. You can see the one on the left-hand side still keeping an eye out, but they're both just stopping to quench their thirst. But we see this quite often. We see this kind of like a displacement behavior where they sort of pretend to do something else. It doesn't seem right. Now they've just had a fight, but here they are having a drink. And they could sneak up on one another again, where it all starts all over. But this camera that we're watching, this is in the far east coast of South Africa. So all the way, it's called Tembe Elephant Park. And we quite regularly, as the name suggests, see plenty of elephants in this area, but not the scene that we've just witnessed. And Caitlin Bosch, you said, geez, fights everywhere today. You said that there was one on the Duma camera with two hippos. So that's something that we could potentially look forward to a little bit later. Perhaps the two hippos will still not be happy with one another. There you go. You can see how they're still kind of displaying towards one another, even though it's not necessarily heads raised, that type of thing. But look at the elephant on the right. He might lie down and have a bit of a splash about. Let's see if the one on the left is going to take the opportunity to ram his tusks into him while he's lying down in the water. Or maybe the disagreement that they had now was enough to put their differences aside so that they can carry on throughout their day. But I don't think so. We'll see if it's still as serious or if it's going to turn a little bit more playful. And Lillian, you've asked if they will also mount each other in these fights. Absolutely. You see males in particular mounting one another is normally a sign of dominance. For the most part, anyways. There we go. Oh, I seem to be moving off. But you see that elephant still holding onto some water on the left. He's now dropped all of it. And also has a big floppy ear. And that's most likely just cartilage damage because there's no bones there. And that could happen from just roughhousing too much when it was younger. It could have been potentially just been born like that. A number of different things, I suppose, could have affected that. But we do see it quite often in elephant bulls. Not like, all the time. And I couldn't give you a statistic on how often we see a floppy ear in the elephant. You see, they just can't kind of get enough at one another. So I don't think whatever the tiff is finished just yet. Maybe just taking a break, perhaps. Well, not perhaps, it's definitely consumed a lot of energy by pushing and shoving one another around like that. Well, things have definitely settled down now that those testosterone-fueled elephant bulls have moved on off, and we've got a willy-necked stork trying his luck between these two elephants as they frolic about in the little mud wallows. I'm sure lots and lots of insects at the moment. that stork will be collecting. We've got obviously a much younger bull on the right-hand side. And look how deceivingly deep that pool of water is. And then Liam, who's just 10 years old, has asked, at what age do elephants start fighting for each other? So, Liam, elephants will start fighting with each other or play fighting with each other from a very young age. So maybe you and your friends, or maybe you have a brother or even a sister. Sometimes you like to with one another just because it's fun. It's a good way to get out energy. It's also a good way to help you with your coordination on how to balance and for your muscles to grow nice and strong. So animals will kind of do the same thing. So then it's normal for them to push one another around, even if they're not having a serious fight. But elephant bulls, so the boys, once they get to a certain age, and this age is not the same for every single elephant, they will start pushing each other around when they start to be more interested in the girls. And this can happen anywhere from about 18 years old right up until the day that they die. But we typically start to see elephant bulls really pushing each other around. The individuals that are around, let's say from 25 to about 35 years old. That's when they're really trying to compete with other bulls. But sometimes, and most of the time, those younger bulls will lose to much larger individuals. But also, Liam, is that younger elephants are not going to pick a fight with another elephant that's much bigger than it, because it's probably going to lose. Size does matter out in the bush. And then we have another question from Lillian, who's asked, not Lillian, sorry, Lillian answered your question earlier, from Joy, asking if are mating rights the only reasons for elephants to fight one another? No, not necessarily. I mean, it could be a number of different reasons. They could be competing over resources. So I suppose the easiest example that we regularly see is a waterhole. I mean, look at this. You saw that young elephant with a very thin tusk drinking out of the smallest pool of water, right? Where there are plenty of other pools of water around. And this bull that's closest to us now came on in and from the left-hand side of the screen, and it pretty much pushed that younger bull out of the way. And just to prove a point, just to kind of say, I'm bigger than you, so I'm going to drink where you drink. Even though there's no reason for him to do that, he still just needs to prove himself. So imagine in those situations when there isn't very much water around, that some competition around a resource like that could become quite severe. And then they're also more likely to be stressed. They're not drinking as much water, so the fights could end up being a lot more serious. So again, it could be an elephant cow reprimanding a younger elephant. It doesn't necessarily matter if it's a male or female. Maybe they've done something wrong that warrants them to basically be given a hiding, if you will. And I have seen it before. And on WildEarth, actually, Jamie had a crazy sighting a very, very long time ago on the live drives where this elephant cow reprimanded a youngster and actually pushed it over. So that act happens more often than you think. It's just we don't see it all the time. So it's important that the older cows keep the younger individuals in the group, in check. Otherwise, we could get some problem animals that need an attitude adjustment. So all that reprimanding is very important. It's just interesting that something's going on at this waterhole today. I wonder if there's been a few bulls in must that have come about, or perhaps a breeding herd of elephants and maybe one or two cows were in estrus that's, left some sense around, that's kind of getting everybody riled up like this. Because, unless it's just rough house day. I suppose we'll never know, will we? But it's just really interesting that it's not the really big bulls that are bothering anyone at all. It's these youngsters. They're normally the problem, though. Maybe we can pan the camera to the left just a little bit. I see that another elephant has joined the scene. You can hear it splashing, and you can see the ripples on the left-hand side sort of moving off to the right. Let's see. Okay. There we go. That's quite nice. Quite a large individual that's having a drink in the middle. One just standing off to the left. Not that it needs much shade today. It looks like it's quite overcast, but having a bit of a dust bath in the shade of a tree. It's so interesting watching those two on the right, though. See how they keep twisting their trunks and turning them towards one another. The constant side eye. And then I thought that bull at the back was going to try and get right behind this one in the water and give him a good old shove with his tusks. But apparently I'm wrong. Or maybe he just missed the moment. more and more elephants just strolling on in, but this is typically the scene at this particular area. Nice to see how much rain the East Coast has received, and I'm sure a lot of it was thanks to this tropical cyclone that was named Filippo, if I'm not mistaken. Sadly, in Hoedspruit or the Lowveld, we really just got the tail end of it, but we did get a little bit of rain, and I suppose that's all that counts. The bush desperately needed any amount. But it's lovely here. The grass looks so lovely and lush, doesn't it? Just make you want to roll around in it. Without the elephants around, though. I prefer to do it that way. Well, it really does look so spongy and soft. And now the bulls have all, for the most part, calmed down. Just the Hardy-Dar vocalizing, expressing its dismay for a Monday. You might hear a squirrel alarming, but that is outside my house. And I'm keeping an eye out because it's very much an overcast day. And it's very, very good weather for predators to be on the move. But we have got a whole bunch more live cameras that we can have a look at. So while the action has died down with the elephants, let's go do a bit of birding at Tower Lodge. And as you can see, it's the complete opposite side of the East Coast. We're now kind of in the northwestern parts of South Africa, where it's barren, if I can say that. The sort of false green oasis that we're looking at down below. And then you've got the big open plains where there isn't really much grass that's grown at all this year. Not even any little forbs, but there just hasn't been enough rain for that to happen. So it'll just stay dry. And you can see the trees that once were lining the hills that were all green are now turning a shade of brown. And just a few elephants making their way towards the waterline to have a drink. I'm sure we'll have the wildebeest and the zebra and ostriches. The regulars come past and visit us too. And just from looking at the YouTube chat, it seems as everybody's working today, which is strange. All my regulars that sneak on to make their Monday a little bit more bearable while sitting in an office staring at concrete walls. Come on, jump on, say hello. A couple of little birds flying around, some butterflies, but very difficult to identify as we're quite far away. But as you can see, we're just scanning about now. Some blacksmith lapwings just hiding in the grass. I'm sure we're going to see an array of birds as we scan like this. Maybe even the odd crocodile. There's a grey heron. Hello. What are you going to catch for us today? Just having a rest for now. I'm probably just scanning around waiting for a fish or a frog to reveal itself. And then just off to the right we've got a common moorhen with a big blackbird with the white stripe on its wing, on the side of its wings. And then you've also got a little three-banded plover that's about the same size as the butterfly that's fluttering around it. No jokes, those birds are a bit bigger than a butterfly. And then once again a blacksmith lapwing. And that's it. You know, there's not much else for these animals to do, right? They take a rest, they preen their feathers, they look for something to eat, they attempt to hunt multiple times. And that whole cycle just continues. We'll keep our eyes out as we're nice and close for any dragonflies that are maybe perched up on a blade of grass, or perhaps a butterfly will sit still for just a moment so we can identify it. Sorry everybody about that. You know how it goes sometimes with the glitches. But at least the giraffe will keep us entertained. And they're oxpeckers, so we can continue with the bird theme. Plenty oxpeckers. You can see how it's actually pouring with rain in the background. You can see there's a dark grey cloud kind of against the blown out sky. And you can see the dark streaks where all the rain is kind of falling down. Maybe it's going to come this way. A bit difficult to tell which way the clouds are moving. Doesn't look like there's much wind at all. It'd be great to have a torrential downpour. I've always wanted to see one while the live cameras are going on. I've seen it, Juma. You've seen the rain. We even timed it once. I was sitting in camp at Juma itself, and I was listening to the rain, and I could see the rain clouds on their way. And we were watching it pour at Gowrie Dam, but the camp is just a few hundred meters away, so it was amazing to see how quickly it approached. And all the oxpeckers have now hopped off the giraffe to have a drink. And watch as this giraffe throws its head back up. This is a photographer's dream. Here we go, because there's no ways that the oxpeckers can hold on. And so to be able to get some of those birds as they're tossed off its head, as well as the stream of water. There's a, if you're keen on photography, there's a shot you can look out for. I've tried many times, and I've only really managed to get it a handful of times, and nothing that I would really even post on social media. They were that bad. Oh, did you see that little bird on the left? Did you see them? Those were oh my goodness, I haven't seen them in years. They were straw-colored, their tails are the color of straw. They're pin-tailed white, or they're widers. Hang on, I have to, straw-colored wider. I think that's the name. Sorry, you're going to hear me typing because I haven't muted. I just thought I'd talk you through this. There we go. Straw-tailed wider. That's the one. I've forgotten the name for a second. And I think I've shown them once a very long time ago, probably either 2017 or 2018, on the live safaris when WildEarth was still broadcasting from Kenya. Well, a nice one to add to the list. That's definitely one that I don't have for the old Donyo Waterhole. And hopefully a new one for those of you that are keeping bird lists. You might need to Google the bird so you know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm sure you saw that white sort of tail, nice and long, which really stood out like a sore thumb. Hopefully we see it again, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail about it. Let's see, the giraffe might be kind enough to walk over that way. No, you're also done drinking. Okay, fine. Carry on. What is going on with those two at the back? Is it a male trying to mount a female? Go closer. I'll stand behind the bushes. It looks like it. Just from... No, he's kind of standing next to that individual. Are you going to swing your heads at each other? That seems like an unfair fight. And again, it might just be an optical illusion, as one seems to be standing closer to the camera than the other. Perhaps we can have a look at the water's edge again and see if any of those interesting birds come back around. We'll just have to give the camera just a moment. So this is the best camera for birding, just because you've got a great low angle and we're so close to the water's edge. Right now we haven't got anything that's popped down there. The nice thing about this waterhole to do birding is that it's not particularly big. So you're able to cover pretty much the length and width of the dam with just 2 very short movements. That's also good, I suppose, to just scan the trees to see if there's anything there. This makes a great habitat for lots of small birds, or any birds really, to perch in and amongst the thorns. And they'll have that added protection from any other aerial predators. And I suppose some of the smaller cat species too. And actually, speaking of... Oh, hang on, no, apparently there are lots of widers around here. I think it's Tadiwa that's zooming. She's directing today too. So they might just all be sitting here waiting. You can see some movement at the back. I'm like, is it leaves or is it a bird? They might still be coming. You can hear some chatter from inside the thorny vegetation. They're probably somewhere in there. And the problem is for us, not necessarily for the birds, is that they don't want to spend too much time out in the open. So we only see glimpses of them. So sometimes as we zoom in and focus on the point, by that time the birds have already flown back. But that's just an anti-predatory behavior, and it's very important that they are conscious about the amount of time they're spending out in the open. You can see a couple of little things fluttering around here and there, just zooming past the screen too quickly. And then MLM7609, you said, hello, you're Mona, you're from Mona in Hampshire, sorry, and that you're loving all the animals and that you've been a wildlife lover since 1987. So you're so grateful for this channel. Well, that's awesome. Great to have you on board. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. And then Charlotte Jackson, you said that you are lurking whilst you're working. I like that. That's a great WildEarth saying, hey, lurking whilst you're working, and that you're enjoying having the show on in the background. Well, that makes me happy. We'll hopefully find all sorts of wildlife, but sometimes you have to look for it, as we're doing it now, even though we have multiple cameras all over. Oh, there's something. Who have we got up there? It looks, oh my goodness. Hello? I don't know what that is. Is it a weaver of some? No, it can't be. It's so small. I have to take a picture. Yeah, look at that. So black. Oh, there it is. It's the wider that I was telling you about. For a moment I glitched. I couldn't see its tail. I was like, what is that? I don't know what that is. I've forgotten how to identify. And then I was about to run through the identifying features with you. But there we go. So this is the breeding plumage of the straw-colored wider. As you know, with a lot of the bird species, they will grow breeding plumage. Some birds have just got naturally long tails, while others have to grow it. You can see, look at the extension on its tail. It's beautiful. This is the longest I've ever seen one of these birds. For those of you that are interested in the birds and want to follow along with me, what I would recommend you do is type into your search engine, whether it's on your phone or your computer, whatever the case may be, and type in straw-tailed wider. Because what I want you to do is I want you to see what the non-breeding individuals look like versus when the males have got their breeding plumage, because it's quite striking. They look very plain and inconspicuous when they don't have the breeding plumage. So it's really great to see. And the girls must be close by. They must be somewhere around here, just in the tree. I can hear lots and lots of chirping. Now, just speaking of the wider that we were looking at, Hans was wondering if the tail color changes when they're in breeding season. Hans, they grow an entire new tail. So that's why I said, if you have the opportunity to just pop into Google, straw-tailed wider, non-breeding adult versus breeding adult, you can have a look. Well, it's typically the males that are there. They're the ones that are changing color. But if you've got an East African bird list or something like that, and it has images attached, it will probably have one. So you'll see that the breeding plumage changes completely, and they grow new feathers, just specifically for the purpose of enticing females. And they do look rather dramatic when they're flittering in the air or jumping up and down in the grass. Even I'm a little bit impressed. And there it is again. So Hans, you can see that entire blonde, that straw color, would not exist. It's so funny, it looks like it's actually just stuck it on. These don't look like the females that are sitting here. These look like they might be sparrows. The females are kind of more mottled in color. They have sort of different colored streaking on their bodies. Oh my goodness, look, there's more birds here. Hello. Of varying kinds. I now, for the life of me, need to double check what that is on the right hand side. And you know what I'm actually going to have to do is I'm going to have to download an entire app. I just got a new phone again, so I haven't finished installing all my apps. So what I'm going to do right now, maybe it's something you want to do with me, you want to download the Merlin Bird ID by Cornell Lab. So I'm going to wait for that to install, and then I'm going to download the Kenya Bird Pack. So it's quite an easy bird to identify there. It had a very long tail, just kind of uniform black, and it had a white beak. So just before I make a mistake, I want to make sure I just get the right ID. So you have to just be patient with me for 2 seconds. And there's a couple of doves. Oh, hello. And a cutthroat finch. That's another new one for the list. Very easy to see why they call this bird a cutthroat finch, with that bright red streak of color literally going from one side of its head across its throat to the other. We do see these in South Africa quite often, and just out of interest, I used to see them a lot at Chitwa Dam, funny enough. And using all the weavers' nests, the old weavers' nests to live in. There's also some firefinches. Oh, let me see what they are. It's a bit difficult to tell which ones they were. But that's nice. I now need to find my book again so that I can add these new birds to the list. This is great. What have we got? Your red-billed firefinch. It looks like it. Looks like it's got a red beak. Sort of, yeah. Red-billed firefinch. Pretty little things. Those are tiny little birds. And now we wait. So what's important about the Merlin Bird app, I just thought I'd speak to everyone, and I'm always a huge advocate of free tools for people to use, is that you just have to make sure you install the packs correctly, so you can go and choose separate ones. You don't have to download them all, otherwise you might use a terabyte of data. A terabyte of space on your phone. So right now I'm just downloading the Kenya one, and it's just over a gig in total, and we're almost halfway there. And then you'll be able to use it offline, which is vitally important, because most of the time when you're birding, you don't have any signal. I'll just double check all these birds though. Like I was saying to you, I sometimes forget, being in East Africa, or long periods in between, you tend to forget which ones are which, especially when you're dealing with all of southern Africa's birds. Lots of bees buzzing about. There was a hive that was around this camera for quite some time. I suspect they're still living here. Oh, and then it looks like we might have who is that? Another little bird. What are you? This could be, I'm just going to wait for it to open. This could even be it's got a very, very prominent black streak across its eye. You see that? Another two on the head, which reminds me of the widers, especially the females. Nice red beak. I suppose I'll be able to be more accurate now when I get this app to install. Jive Bunny, you said that this is bird paradise. It absolutely is. It's a great day for birding, which is fantastic. Lots of butterflies flying around, but I found them very difficult to identify because they don't sit still for long enough. And also, I can't find a complete, very accurate list of butterflies, like say specifically for the Tsavo, Amboseli, Oldonyo area. Okay, we're 91% of the way there. But this bird's really just enjoying a bird bath now. Flapping its wings around. You can see how it's puffing itself out, making sure that the water does get in between those feathers. You know that they do have the slight coating of that preen oil, which definitely adds some kind of hydrophobic secretion to the feathers. So if it doesn't do that, it's not going to get towards the skin, and that kind of defeats the point of staying nice and cool, right? And then of course be bathing yourself. And there I see Jive Bunny, you're jumping on and you're actually going to download this app. Good. I encourage everyone to do it. And you can download the South African pack as well, Jive Bunny, if you haven't got a South African app already. Is that a giraffe? It must be a giraffe coming to drink. Good to see the shadow. Let's see what else is here. Oh, there's the agama. There is the agama that we often see around here. Okay, now I can go to wider. That's exactly, it's a female agama, just catching up on some relaxation, warming up, sussing out its next prey, I suppose. Okay, everybody, we're going to keep our eyes open. We've left Aldonio. We're going to just see what happens with these two hippos that have been cavorting all morning long. Maybe we'll get some more action. We're just having a little scan around in the plants. Maybe we'll find an insect, which will make my day. But nothing happening just yet with the hippos. But like what we watch with the elephants, sometimes they get tired too and just need a bit of a break. But it's a bit difficult to tell. I won't make any suggestions as to what I think is going on just yet until I see it for myself. Okay, I finally managed to get that app installed and working. Just took me a little bit to try and remember my login details. It's always the hardest. So just quickly going back, if you have only just joined us now, this is a live and interactive Waterhole show where we watch cameras all over the world looking for all sorts of weird, wonderful things, and that's what we're doing right now. But just before this, we were watching some birds in Kenya, and there was one bird that I didn't identify because I just wanted to be 100% accurate for the ID, and I'm pretty sure it was a steel blue wider. It did look black, but that's because their feathers also contain iridescence, and so depending on how much light is available, it will refract in slightly different colors. So you can hear the hippos swishing their tails. Sounds like a helicopter kind, but not really. So let's see. Whoever is zooming is on it. Very responsive to those sounds, because when hippos tend to do that in the water, it's a form of display, kind of to say, hey, look how dominant I am. things have settled down once again. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Old Daniel. We're going to do a little bit of birding, and then we'll take it from there. Perhaps we're on a hot streak with new birds from East Africa to add to our lists. So these are giraffe, in case you were wondering. They're not birds. They do have birds on them though, but we'll probably come back towards the water's edge in just a moment. Nothing just yet, but you can see that this elephant dung would definitely be drawing the attention of some of those birds. Not only can you come for a drink, but you can also sift through the dung and find partially digested plant material, and then of course insects. And that would work just as well for this agama that you can see sitting on the rock, also lingering around, hoping to catch something to eat. And they are specialists at catching all sorts of insects, even those that fly. They're quite dramatic. They'll leap into the air. Of course, if they've got the element of surprise, you can see they've got this fantastic camouflage. They'll also try to sneak up to prey a little bit closer that might be sitting on the rock, and then feed that way. There we go. We've got the male straw-tailed wider. Look at him displaying. See how he's flapping around. There's a female just off to the right. He's now trying to get her attention, as to say, look at me how dramatic I am. I can hold on for dear life and still flap and flail about while my tail blows so gracefully in the wind. There we go. Look at that little hopping in the air. Isn't that hilarious? They're so funny. And a superb starling that's also just landed. Mr. Wider, you did such a good job. You caught the attention of a starling. Not the one that you're really after though, but good job. That's actually the first time I've ever seen the straw-tailed widers display, but they display in a very similar manner to the pin-tailed wider. They're also quite streamlined, and their tails, as their name suggests, is a lot more slim in comparison to the other wider species during breeding season. So not only would he have been vocalizing frantically, but those dance moves would have hopefully done the trick. And you saw another one just flew across the screen, and he immediately followed. He must be very interested in her. Oh, he's back again. It's also great to see the size comparison between a starling and a WildEarth. Lots and lots of little birds, but it's so hard to tell what you all are. Nice to add that cutthroat finch, though. I'm happy about that. Still haven't managed to find my notebook. But what we're going to do now is we're going to just take a break from the birds, and we're going to watch a couple of different clips. We'll play a few of them throughout the remainder of the show of just some really interesting things that have happened. Actually, I think these might be female cutthroat finches with the males by the looks of it. So what we're going to do is we are going to go and have a look at a leopard that was seen at Rosie's Pan. Okay, so like I said, this is not live. This is not happening right now. It looks like a leopardess, a female leopard, on her way to have a drink of water in the Olifants West Game Reserve at Rosie's Pan, which is one of my favorite places to do birding, and this out of the South African cameras. And we're quite lucky to see this. I'm not sure what time of the day this footage was recorded. Maybe in the afternoon at some point. Oh, it sounds like it might have been earlier during the day, between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. That's quite nice. Again, yes, there was also pretty overcast for the first half of the day. You can see she's just keeping an eye out. Got very tatty ears, which is a great identifying feature. Something has caught her attention. I don't know if it's necessarily a predator, or perhaps she's heard or smelt something that she might be interested in. Definitely looking around. Oh yes, I have seen this female before. It is the Rosie's Pan female. I never like to just jump to conclusions. She's maybe coming back to finish off her drink again. And we know that this is an incredibly busy waterhole. We see animals coming around to have drinks all the time. If it's not the elephants, then the hippos are here. And then, of course, all the antelope in between. And she's just doing a little bit of a walk around. She's got a full belly too. And maybe a drink after finishing off a meal. That would make sense, right? And off she goes. That was a very quick drink of water. Now, wonderful. So now we're back live at Oldonyo in Kenya. We're watching a dove come down for a drink. Also quite hesitant of the water. Maybe a bit more than how that leopard was acting. So it just goes to show. It doesn't matter the time of day. Animals will come and drink water or hang around water holes whenever they want. We're still just going to search for a few more new bird species. And if we don't come right, there are a couple more clips that we can watch just to keep us entertained during these quiet moments in the bush. No birds. Okay, fine. Right. We're going to go back and we're going to play another clip. And this one is slightly different. This one was taken at night time, and it involves a snake and its prey. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, a snake is definitely caught a frog. Looks like a foam nest frog, a southern foam nest frog. Let me be specific. I'm just having a look. It looks quite light in color, uniform brown, but there are some blotches that the snake has on it. Do you see that every now and then? And you quite often see that with young Mozambique spitting cobras. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this is. I can't see any other markings on the head. I know it does also have a bit of dirt on it now. I need to see that head. I want to see if it's got a white streak across its eyebrow, because then that could make it a brown house snake. Don't see that though. But going straight into suffocating its prey. So it's just strangling it now, compressing itself. You can see how as that frog almost gasps for air and breathes out, those coils tighten. And it doesn't allow that frog then to take in another breath. Its lungs cannot expand. And sometimes it's basically can just crush everything inside them. So I was just getting some information now. And I see that I've just been told apparently it is a brown house snake. It's very difficult for me to tell. Like I said, I'm looking for that one feature. You can see the eye shine now on the snake on the right. And it looked like there was a little bit of white on the eyebrow, but very difficult to tell when you're using the infrared cameras. They're amazing though, because obviously we don't interfere with the animals' daily or nightly routines. We can just go about and watch them without distracting them of any sort. But difficult to tell, which is awesome. That was great. But now we're at Tau Game Lodge, which is in Madikwe Game Reserve. This is where we were earlier, and we just named a couple of birds. And now we've got a family of elephants that have come down. And look, there's plenty of youngsters. Look at all those little ones on the left-hand side. And some moving into the center. Might be a bit tricky for them to enter the water that way. So let's see if the cows are going to lead the youngsters around. Or are they just moving on? Is that it? Doesn't really look like everybody had a fair chance. Perhaps the matriarch has got other ideas, or maybe she knows more than what we do. Unfortunately, we're not able to pan the camera around too much more. Interesting that everyone's drinking on this side now. It's quite a steep step down though, which is intimidating, as you can see, for a lot of the animals. But there's some more elephants just making their way through. Looks like they're walking on the road. And straight towards us, so let's hope that they don't go off to the left, but that they rather come and frolic about in this water. And the elephants really just enjoyed splashing around in that mud. Always funny to watch as they start to get closer to the water's edge, how they charge on forward, and you can really see the excitement. All the little ones catching up now, not wanting to miss out on anything. The blacksmith lapwings also zoning in. But they have a nest nearby, although we're starting to get later on in the year. Not impossible, of course, for a lot of these ground-dwelling birds to still be breeding. It would be a very difficult place to defend if you were a blacksmith lapwing. They're not really vocalizing it, of course, so I'm not convinced that there is a nest right on top of where the elephants are. It might be just in there, if there is one. The elephants got their trunks stretched out. I'm sure they know the scent of a crocodile very well. Maybe also smelling some other individuals. And the little ones getting stuck in the mud. There's more and more animals that move through this watery wetland system. It starts to become very difficult to navigate, especially if you've got short legs and small feet. I might have been tempting to walk out into the left, detrimental to those young elephants who get stuck in that mud. Sorry, everybody, that I went quiet. Just trying to sort out a few things. Obama Girl, you said who doesn't love a parade? Absolutely. Whether it's the parade of Deborah that we now have, or the elephants that marched on Queen's Parade. Always fascinating. Long lines. Okay, I think there's some issues on my side, so we're gonna head over to Juma and see. Oh, more elephants! What a surprise! And a flock of guinea fowls just resting in the shade. Just the other day, was it last week or the week before? I had the Tillamook breaker line lying about there, just waiting for feedback, whether or not my audio is better. So I'm just going to sit quietly while I wait for that. It looks like these elephants have already had a drink by their dark trunks and their dark front legs. Are you thinking about going back in for a second time? You can. There is no rules as to how many times you can enter the water. Okay. I think we may have resolved all the issues now, so that will be good. Let's see what the interaction is going to be between these two elephants. You can see the cow at the back with her ears raised to the side. She backed away slightly from this other individual. She might charge towards it. And a funny little interaction. Sandy Franklin, 69. You said good afternoon, that you're just joining for me today. That's sweet. Thank you. I also hope that you have a great day, Sandy. That means the world. Thank you so much. Well, we're not up to too much. It's been a little bit on the quiet side today. We've had some action a bit earlier. Now we're just watching a small group of elephants after they've had a drink and do a little bit of feeding. With this youngster, they're coming down again. Are you going to go back to the water? No? Going to feed on that side. I want this little elephant on the right to come charging down, maybe chase a few birds. That will definitely liven up many of your afternoons or mornings, depending on where in the world you're watching, of course. I'm having a chuckle though at the comments on YouTube, where some of you have said that it did sound, sounded like an alien. And then Ant actually said it sounded like I was one of those alien computer voices from the 80s and the 90s. And I'm going to have to go back and watch so that I can hear it myself. Sometimes these things happen. But thankfully, I'm no longer sounding like that, although it was probably far more entertaining. This young elephant is just out for trouble today. I mean, what did the guinea fowl possibly do to upset that elephant? And every time they do that, especially when it's to an animal that's, what, I don't even know, a 20th of its size. Shoo, go away! It's never in a very manly, deep voice, and I don't know why. A couple more ellies. And Robert 4217, you've asked, where are the crocs? Well, they could be here. They could be lurking below the surface of the water. However, with the camera having an infrared light, and with there being so many people watching this particular camera live right into the evening, we definitely see the reflection of the eye on the water surface, and at nighttime it's very easy to pick up. So there's probably no crocodiles in here at the moment. It's not to say that they don't come here, because crocodiles can travel huge distances on land to try and find new water sources, to explore more food opportunities. I don't know why I say some of the words like that. It's ridiculous. I'm like, why did that even come out of my mouth? But anyways, and I've seen some really big crocs here. But there are lots of water holes close by that are filled with crocodiles. We might start to see some more movement of the crocs as we head into dry season. And Robert, I don't know if you know, but we're having a very dry year so far. We've not got anywhere near the required rainfall. And because it's seasonal in this part of South Africa, our rainy season is about to come to an end. Here's some more elephants racing in to have a drink. And now I'm sure you can hear the hornbills, the southern red-billed hornbills, looking outside. They want to come inside. They're not allowed to come inside this house though. Not because I don't like them, because it's a nightmare to try and get them back out again. Yes, the hippos, the guinea fowls are trying for the second time to come down to have a drink. And then Leslie, hopefully you'll be able to see it again. You were wondering, why do hippos make such a big yawn? It's a good question. So they're not yawning like I am right now because I'm tired. Excuse me. It's not because I'm tired. It's just for some bizarre reason I never seem to get enough oxygen in, so I just yawn all day long. So it's really just like a threat display. It's kind of to say, hey, look how big my teeth are. I'm really powerful. This is a warning. Don't come near me, type of thing. And they'll do it for a number of different reasons. But there has been some animosity between two hippo individuals. I can't tell you if they're two bulls that have been fighting. But just before Live at the Waterhole started, there was quite a bit of commotion going on. And I suspect throughout the rest of the day, we're going to see something similar. So even for the sunset safari, which starts in a little bit, it might be some afternoon fun for all of you. And perhaps then, if you carry on watching, Leslie, you'll be able to see a hippo do a big yawn. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye out on this one on the bottom left-hand corner. Starting to get a little bit more active. We've heard it vocalized. It was swishing its tail around just a moment ago. Now it's pretending to be a rock. Lots of vocalizations going around, from the birds to the, sounds like grasshoppers of some kind, and then the hippo. And Oliver Hacking, you've said, is there a reason the elephants will chase the guinea fowls away? In the situation that we just saw, there's absolutely no reason for them to do it, but they just do. When you're a young elephant, you feel the need to have to prove yourself all the time. So perhaps by chasing some birds around makes you feel a little bit better. But there was no reason there. They'll quite often chase other animals around, especially around water points or areas that they maybe want to feed in. And then, of course, younger animals are just curious by nature and will often chase things. And then, of course, they chase predators, but that's a whole different kettle of fish when they do that. There's also a fork-tailed drongo that's just swooping. I don't know if you saw that, and plunging itself into the water, having a bath. And impala also just grazing close by to the water, probably going to make their way down to have a drink at some point. And the elephants all moving off now, all in different directions, carrying on with their browsing and grazing. If I were the elephants, you can see that even just the bit of rain that we've had in the low veld has definitely greened up the grass a little bit. I'd be making the most of that. I'm currently watching two Natal spurfowls peck at a rusk, ants, which have been quite hectic over the last little while. I was hoping with a bit of rain that we had would have alleviated the problem. Apparently not, but they got into a packet of rusks, so one of them got tossed outside, to which now all the birds are feasting on. Can't believe those birds are in this garden. But anyways, then the guinea fowl are now going to cross the dam wall. It always makes me chuckle. We'll just walk. We don't need to fly. Okay, well, things are dying down at Juma, so we'll head back to Oldonyo, which has really been where lots of the action has been happening. And there we go, giraffe is just walking away. And see, the next lot of clouds are slowly making their way in, though. You can see off to the left how dark it is. And again, some rain in the distance. But there's some nice birds here. Maybe we can have a closer look to the left-hand side of the waterhole. That's where the birds are gathering. I can see another wider species. Maybe a widow bird. It's got a very long, pronounced tail. Much thicker in comparison to the straw-tailed wider that we saw just a moment ago. But as you know, these cameras have a delay. It's great to just see all the life happening around it. They've got emerald-spotted wood doves in the background. There are also ring-necked doves that came to have a drink. And obviously this agama that is just feasting on all sorts of things. It looked like it grabbed something, but just out of view. I think that this little spotted Scot up on top of the rocks, waiting there while flying creatures of all sorts come down to have a drink. Probably not going to catch a bird, but all the bugs and, to be able to leap down on top of them. What a great strategy. You can just see it must be so tempting to just want to leap and bound at absolutely everything flying above your head. And Mary, you've actually commented, what a cute little agama. It is. It really is. Nice to see. We've been spoiled with sightings of agamas around here. Like I said, I think, caught something again. See, it's kind of just catching them as they land. You're going to be nice and full. And then, Joseph, you're wondering what actually will predate an agama. Lots of different things. I mean, if a leopard or a lion were to catch something like this, they absolutely would eat it. It's not like an adult lion or leopard is really going to try and catch one. But, curiosity often gets the best of them. But the real threats to these agamas are going to be those of the aerial kind. So birds of prey. Oh, look, there it is. There's that other bird. Not a bird of prey, though. I think it might be the steel blue WildEarth again. I just want to double check. It's got a white beak, sort of very plain coloration. I think that's what it was. So that will be the main predator in this area. It'll just be birds of prey. I mean, we've seen secretary birds come on through here. They'd love to gobble up an agama. And any other eagles or kestrels or falcons, sparrowhawks, you name it. You can see the agama is now creeped up. No, just about to say it's back on its perch. Oh, there it is, back again. I bet it's enjoying when the sun's. It's not like it's been particularly cold in terms of weather, but it's always nice when you are a reptile to be able to warm yourself up directly in the sunlight. You can see agama also going up, bobbing its head, tail stretched out far away from its body now. What are you going to launch at next? It'd be great if it could catch something like a butterfly with big wings, and then hopefully it would come and sit on a perch so we can watch it devour it. And there have been some beautiful butterflies fluttering around this waterhole, and some pretty big ones too. Not that they would be a match, for this agama. What would be really impressive is if it could catch a dragonfly, being one of the fastest flying creatures. But sadly, we don't have very much time left. As you know, these 2 hours go by so quickly. But don't forget to head on over to watch the Sunset Safari, the live drive that will be starting shortly. But thank you so much. I hope to see you all again tomorrow, because I'll be hosting live at the Waterhole until Wednesday. I'll see you all soon. Bye.